everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I have some exciting news. We actually had time and the weather to review ToupTek's SkyEye 62AM. It's their full frame mono camera. They sent it over for us to review, and I have to give them a huge thanks and a shout out to ToupTek for sending this over to us, and also to Dan over at Astro World Telescopes for making all this possible. Really appreciate it. But let's get right into this review, and let's take a look at ToupTek's SkyEye 62AM full frame mono camera. All right, so first of all, it comes in this really nice hard case. This I really like. Can't beat a nice hard case for transport and also just for storage purposes. But it comes with all the goodies, USB cable. It comes with its own power supply here, which is really nice. It comes with all the adapters that you need. The M54 to M54 spacer, M54 to M48 reducer. It even comes with a set of screws for an OAG or filter wheel. And then it even comes with the little Allen wrench to do all that work with. And it also comes with additional adapter spacers. But most important, it comes with the 62. Most importantly, it comes with the 62AM full frame mono camera. Look at this monstrous bad boy of a camera right here. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's just an amazing piece of equipment right here. It's really nice. Let's see if I can get a little closer here. It's got some power lights in the back. I will say that for the RASA, when I use this for the RASA, I had to take a little piece of electrical tape and put across the back here to keep the lights down, so I could take my flat frames and all my other calibration frames. I haven't found a way yet to turn these lights off, but I'm working on that. But it also has a USB 3 port in the back right here for the camera, and it has a 2 ports here for USB 2, and of course the power output right there. But it's a really nice, well-built camera. Let me pull up some specs here, if I can get this right. Here we go. Yeah. So this camera, of course, is made by ToupTek. It has the Sony IMX455 monochrome CMOS sensor. It's a 61 megapixel, pixel size 3.76. The sensor size 36 by 24 millimeters. It's full frame. It's very nice. The ADC, it's 16-bit. Has 2-stage cooling. Has very low read noise depending upon what mode you put it in. And this is what I like to call, it's fully adaptable. It's customizable. It's kind of like having an Android phone that you can customize, whereas an Apple iPhone, you can't really customize it within the software, especially with Stella Vita, which works, by the way. It's very nice. You can adjust this camera. It's customizable, basically. Has a really good dynamic range. Frame rate is like every other full frame sensor, 6.2 frames at full res. Exposure time, 0.1 to 3600 seconds. Of course, it's got the USB 3 interface. Back focus 17.5, and it can be reduced to 12.5 to accommodate for OAGs and filter wheels. And the weight is very comparable to its competitor from ZWO. Overall, I really like this camera. It's very nice. In just a minute, we'll get into PixInsight and show you what it's capable of. But let me pull up a quick side-by-side comparison. So if you were wondering how it ranks to, and we're not here to rank it against ZWO, but this is some comparison data. It's really almost side-by-side on a lot of things. Two keynotes to point out. There's two different types of software. I have tried this with Sharp Cap, but I haven't tried it with anything else other than Sharp Cap and Stella Vita. But Stella Vita, which is the ASI Air competitor, it works very well. So soon I hope to try it with Nina. I've never tried it. I've never tried Nina, but I'd like to try that out. But also the price difference. This is around 32 to 35, and the ASI Air competitor 6200 is around 39 to 42, depending upon where you buy it from. So this is, if you're on a budget build and you don't want to sacrifice quality, this is the camera for you. So let's jump right on the PixInsight and check out the camera's ability. And I want you to know that I tested this camera out during a full moon time frame, and it took me about a week, almost a week, to get this done because of the clouds and storms. But I was able to get about an hour to an hour and a half of data on each filter, SHO. And also, let me mention that they also sent over their set of filters. This is the 6.5 nanometer filter for S2. This is the HA filter, 6.5. It comes in a really nice case. The filters are just like every other filter, but they're 6.5. And this is the O3 filter. I think I had some really good results from these filters, and we'll see that here in just a second. So let's jump right into PixInsight. Okay, here we are in PixInsight. So let's take a look at our just a little over 1 hour of data on each, the HA, O3, and S2. So here we go. Here's the HA. And again, this is the ToupTek HA 6.5 nanometer filter. That's what we're looking at right now. All right, let's check this out. Let's just do a quick stretch on this to see what we're looking at. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Now again, remember this was done during somewhere around 85% illumination through a full moon, and then the backside of the full moon. That's pretty good there. Some pretty good detail. This was used with the 11-inch RASA, by the way, the Celestron 11-inch RASA. I'm quite pleased with that. That's just right out of the. There's nothing done to this. This is straight off the camera, put into to PixInsight. I think it was 7 frames of 10 minutes each. These are 10-minute frames stacked together to give it like 1.1, 1.2, something like that. Not very good with math. So that's not bad. This is really, actually really good. Looks really good for just over an hour. Now you can see there's a satellite trail going through there. I just did a real quick stack. I didn't get all the right settings, but you can see it right there. I could go back and restack and get rid of that, but for this test, this is going to work pretty well here. So there's the HA. We're just doing a quick screen stretch, just a quick stretch. Just hitting the Control A feature there to take a look at it. Here's the O3. And then again, there's not a whole lot of data in the oxygen, but then again, this was also done with extreme light pollution. So oxygen 3 is difficult to capture in that light pollution, and you can see there's a gradient, an obvious gradient there from here to here. So that's a definite indication there that there was some light pollution going on. But again, first indications here, everything looks really good. Scroll in here, do some pixel peeping here. That's really nice. I'm pretty pleased with that. Anyway, let's take a look at the S2. Let's get this over here a little bit. Do a little screen stretch. All right. You can just barely see some faint detail there. And again, this is just 1 hour during light pollution time frames. And I kind of like to do this during those time frames because it really, for me, personal preference is if I can get a good, decent picture with a full moon, I know I'll be able to get an outstanding, excellent picture in total darkness. And again, there are some more satellite trails there, so those are just going to have to be there for now. But I'm pretty pleased with that. The way the data is on this, it looks really good. And this, I'm pretty sure that if we were looking at a 3 nanometer filter, would probably have helped out tremendous amount during that extra light pollution that we had going on with the moon. Okay, so let's turn off the stretch here, and let's get on with doing a little bit of items here to make these stand out here. We're going to do just a little bit of quick processing. I'm all about quick and easy. Again, we're going to use a SETI Astro script here. So we're just going to go to script, SETI Astro here, automatic dynamic background extraction. I just use the defaults here. We'll let it do its thing real quick, and then we're going to take a look at the background that it took out. All right, so it's completed here. This is the background that it just removed. Let's have a look at that. Now look at that gradient. That's pretty good gradient going from the top of the screen down to the bottom, as you can see here. Whereas it was capturing the image throughout the night sky and had that moon glowing off to the side there. So that's pretty good. All right, so let's get rid of that. We don't need that. We're going to keep this one. All right, so that's the HA there. It gives it a new name of automatic background. We're going to look at the, you don't have to turn off the preview here, but I like to do that anyway. Script, SETI Astro, again, automatic DBE. We'll just let it do its thing here. And depending upon the speed of your computer, it's either going to be faster or slower. All right, there we go. It is done. Let's look at the background that we have here on the 03. Pretty good gradient going there, so it's removed that. Let's get rid of that one. All right. I guess what I could have done here, which I will do here in just a second, we'll go back and we'll take a look at each one to see what it looked like after. I guess I could have done a comparison. But here we go. It's doing its thing here. All right. Let's look at the background remover for the S2. Yeah, it's pretty good gradient right there. All right. Let's move that out of the way. Do another little automatic stretch. Yeah, so it looks a lot better here from the corners to the center. Evened out the gradient. It looks really good there. Let's see how it did with the oxygen. Much, much better. Look at that. So this automatic background extraction does a really great job. It did really, really well and cleaned up. You can actually see some more detail of that oxygen there. That's pretty cool. I love how that software works. So here's the HA. Wow. Just a huge difference from just doing the automatic dynamic background extraction here. You can really see the nebulosity sticking out here. That looks really good, and this is almost hard to believe you can get this during a full moon or right at full moon or over 80% illumination from the moon. So that looks really good. Let's turn off the screen. Just turn off the preview there for the automatic stretch. All right. And then we're going to move into blur exterminator correct only. So we'll just go back to the S2 here, scripts, processes, all processes, blur exterminator. Let's make sure we only do correct only. Just do a really quick blur exterminator on this. We'll hit all three with it. Then we'll do a star alignment, remove the stars, and combine it into either an SHO or an HOO. project, and we'll just do a real quick combination here, and we'll see what we got. And it's not taking too long here to do the blur exterminator, so it's not too bad there. All right, let's take a look and see. You can see, let's zoom in here, and you can kind of look at these stars right here when we do, that's with, there's a before, and there's an after. I know it's really hard to see, but it does pretty good. Zoom in a little bit better. I know it's probably too much zoom there, but take it away and add it. Take it away and add it. It actually does do a phenomenal job on that. All right, so let's do blur exterminator on the HA. Processes, all processes, blur exterminator, and we are doing the correct only. We'll do, like I say, we'll do that for all three, and we'll see what the results are. All right, it's about halfway through. Again, I'll have to say I'm pretty impressed with the results so far of this ToupTek full frame camera. I think the results are just amazing. All right, let's there, man, look at that. That looks really good. That tightened up everything real nice, real nice. All right, let's see if we'll do the let's see, this will be before. Yeah, you can definitely see a difference here. Let's zoom in a little bit more. That was before, and that's after. That was before, and that's after. It tightens up the stars a great deal, a really great deal. All right, and let's move into the 03 side of the house. Processes, all processes, blur exterminator, correct only. Again, it's only going to take just a few seconds to do this, and if you can hear the squeaky toy in the background, that's one of my doggies having a fun time with the squeaky. So maybe they'll have a cameo appearance here in a little bit. But we're driving right along here with the 03 doing the blur exterminator. So we just finished up the blur exterminator. Let's do a quick check of that. Wow, looks amazing. Good job. That's a great job. All right, let's see if we can, we'll do the same as we did before. This is after. That was before. And look in this area right in here. You can really see a big difference. So that was before. That's with the blur exterminator. That's before. And there's after. It does really good. Really good. Amazing job. Okay. So let's have to go do a star alignment next. Yes, we're going to do a star alignment. So we'll go to processes, all processes, star alignment, and we're just going to choose one. I'm just going to choose the HA as our main image, and we're going to add the 03 and S2. And what this is going to do is we're just going to hit apply global here. What it's going to do is, since I took these images over a period of time, they're going to, you'll see here in a second, you'll see where the images have shifted. And what this is going to do is going to make sure all the images line up so we can stack them right over top of each other. But what's going to happen is you'll see here, it's going to leave some space where the image shifted. So we'll have to do a dynamic crop. And this is what I mean by that. So we'll just do a stretch here. And you can see this little outline here of the box. And let's get this one here. And you can see here where this little area here, it adjusted the image to where it sits. They'll be able to line up right on top of one another. So the images will be able to stack right on top of one another. But what we have to do is we're going to keep these new registered ones. So we'll get rid of these. Get rid of those real quick. So now we only have the HA. Okay, we have the HA O3 and S2, and those are already done. Those are already aligned. So what we're going to use is one of these with the biggest gap, is what I like to call it. But you can use whichever one you want, because we're going to really crop it anyway. So just take one. We'll take this dynamic crop here, and we're just going to make sure we cut out the area of where the black space is and any stacking artifacts around the side. So I think that's pretty good. At this point, we don't want to hit the green check. What we want to do is we want to drop an instance of this on the HA and on the S2. And once that's done, then hit the green check. Now they are all sized the same, every single one of them. So if you were to stack them all now on top of each other, even though you can't tell that, it's not a true stack, but they fit all together. They're not, if they weren't aligned, then one would be poking out from it and you could see it. Okay, so now that we did that, we're going to cancel the dynamic background session. So everything is done. Now what we can do is we can remove the stars to really make this thing pop out. So I want to keep the HA stars because they're the tighter and the smallest of the stars, I think. So we're going to just put that one back over there. We'll move this S2 over here, and we'll just go with the O3 real quick. Processes, all processes, star exterminator. And we don't need the stars, so we'll uncheck that. It'll make this a little bit quicker. And we'll just take the stars out of this real quick. And then we'll get the stars out of the O3, the stars out of the S2, the stars out of the HA. And then we'll stretch the HA stars. And then we'll stretch all three images. And then we'll combine them and adjust a little bit of color here and there. And then we'll see what we have. Now, as you can see here, there is some artifacts in here. Again, like when I was doing the stacking, I just put these together. I didn't check a whole lot of boxes. Just wanted to get the stack done. And plus, there's going to be some issues out there while we were doing this with all this light pollution. But still, that's not bad. And this is just a screen stretch, so that's not the real image, and we can turn that off just like that. So the stars are out of there. All right, let's take the S2 stars out. We don't need the stars, so we're going to make sure that's unchecked. And one of the things I wanted to show here, well, you can kind of see it here. We'll go back and look, but one of the things with certain filters, this being a 6.5 nanometer filter, this one created a little bit of a halo issue going on, as you can see it right there. And that's what some of the halos were going on versus the other one in the oxygen. That was some haloing of the filter with those very bright stars that are in there. And sometimes, depending upon how the filter is made, these filters, I think, are around... I really don't want to guesstimate the price, but I thought last time I looked, they were about $120 maybe. The price point is good. They work great, but they're not going to match the quality of a $1,000 filter. However, they work great, and we were looking at some very bright stars on that. So the filters do work great. As you can see, they do a really good job, especially for the price on a budget build. They are a great choice. All right, so there's that. The stars are gone out of that. We'll put that back over there. So now we're going to do the HA, and we are going to keep the stars. So we want to make sure that that is ticked, which it is. This is going to take just a little bit longer because it's going to keep the stars. Now with the HA, as with all HAs, I've never seen any issues with haloing of HA stars. It's a tighter pass, in my opinion. So just give this a few seconds more. The stars will come out, and we're almost done with this little project. There we go. There are the HA stars, so we can get rid of this box here. Let's close this out. there are our stars for the HA. They look really good. I think the stars look really good. The filters, in my opinion, work very well. This was an extreme test on some very bright stars and during some heavy light pollution. So I think they turned out very, very well. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the screen stretch, and then we're just going to use the script SETI Astros star stretch. It's a pretty easy, simple program here. You got to stretch them out. I don't like to stretch the stars all that great deal, so I'm going to turn this down to 4. All right. We can show a preview here if you'd like. Kind of gives you an idea of what you got. Then you can adjust the amount by going up. It gives you a little, there was a warning here about going over 5 here, but refresh the preview and you can look. Now the stars are really, really blown out. So I like to turn it down to 4 because we're not concentrating on the stars on this particular project. So I know that 4 is going to be good. We'll go ahead and execute it. And there it gives a really nice set of just regular HA stars, which I'm happy with. We'll put that over in the corner. And now there are a couple different ways to get this done. But we're going to use the simple, easy way, and it works great. We're going to use SETI Astro again. And we're going to use statistical stretch. And we're going to leave it at 25. We hit the automatic convergence. And we're going to hit the refresh preview just to make sure. But I know that this is going to work very well. I think that looks great. We could tweak it a whole lot more, but we're going to go with this. Just right out of the box, default, and I think it looks amazing. So there's our HA stretch. Looks really good. Let's do the S2. And I always just turn this off. You don't have to. I think the script automatically turns it off for you. I just always like to turn it off. SETI Astros statistical stretch again. Again, we're going to leave it at 25. Check this automatic convergence. We'll hit the preview button just to be sure that it's not going to be blown out. I think it's going to look okay. And give it just, there it comes. And I think that looks good. You can still see the haloing of the stars. The only way to get that out of there is if we were to tone back the stretch. But we're just gonna go with it for right now. There are a couple different ways we can deal with that, but for now, we're gonna let that go. Oh, all right, got the volume turned up too loud. All right, so there is the S2. And let's do the O3 real quick. Processes, script. SETI Astro, statistical stretch. Again, leave it at 25, automatic convergence. Hit the preview refresh. And we're just going to go with that. All right, there we go. Oops. That helps if I click the right button. All right, so now we have all of our images stretched. They're all aligned. Dynamic background, they're all aligned, they're stretched, and they're cropped. So what we want to do is now we want to combine these 3 images. A couple different ways to do it. The easiest way is just to come over here to LRGB combination, uncheck the luminance, and we want to do an SHO image. So we'll put the S there. Oops. We'll put the hydrogen alpha there. And we'll put the O3 there. So it'll be SHO. And we'll hit the apply global. And it should come up with an image, and it probably have some green or some odd colors on there. No worries. A couple quick ways to deal with that. But what I wanted to point out is that just with this image here, just with this is really, really nice. In my opinion, for 85% luminosity to full moon with 1 hour of data, basically 1.1 hours of data, it's 7 10-minute exposures. I think this looks really good. And we didn't really do any noise extermination. All we did was a blur extermination, but correct only for the stars, and the stars aren't even in it. So just with this little bit of data, it is looking really good. I mean, the detail of this nebulosity is really good. You can make out some of that really cool data there. All right. So we could, you could run an SCNR on it and get rid of the green. Could do a couple different things. So there's a beginning of our SHO image there. So we could run it into processes, all processes, or sorry, just run right down here to color calibration and go to narrowband normalization and click this preview button here. And now we have an HOO image here, if you like that. You can go through all these different models to go through what you like. I kind of like the blue and the black. It looks really cool. Or just go to the SHO image, and you can adjust your sliders accordingly. You can boost up the oxygen a little bit here and there, do a little S2 boost. You can tell, you know, different ways how it's going to look. You can deal with some of these just right in here. You can turn the brightness down. There's a couple different ways that we can deal with some of those little haloing issues. But for now, we're just going to roll with what we got here, and I'm just going to go with an HOO image here. Let me reset this back. I'm kind of liking this blue and black image here. So let's go with that with just for now, and we'll give it a little bit of oxygen boost, not much, and then we'll just darken it up just a little. All right, we're going to go with that. Just go with that for now. Just entertain me on this little idea. So now we have this here. What we can do is just tweak this just a wee bit with a curve adjustment. Just a small adjustment here. You don't want to go too dark because then it's going to kill out some of the nebulosity that we've created here, but you could deal with some of those halos issues there. But for just a demonstration of a nice cool little image here, we're going to go with that for now. And then we're going to put a little saturation in there. Just get a little more of that oxygen feel in there. I'm kind of liking the blue and the black here. I'm kind of liking it. It matches the colors on the computer. All right, so let's reset that. It looks like maybe is there a little bit of green in there. Nope. So let's leave that alone. Okay, we're going to go with that. I think that looks good. Let's do one more small little stretch here. And this is all just playing around. And this was, like I say, was only 3 hours of data. I think we're going to go with that. I think that looks pretty good. Looks kind of like a dynamic range peering into the, this is IC410, by the way, the Tadpole Nebula. I think the tadpoles look good there, so we'll let that go just like that. All right, we'll get rid of the preview there. Now, we can put the stars back in it two different ways. We can do the image blend, or we can just do this starless for rescreening. Now, I believe, and y'all please don't hate me if I get this wrong, but I learned this from watching Luco Matico, awesome guy, by the way. But I think he got, either he made these or he got them from another Bill Blanchard. Don't hate me if I got the name wrong or if I got the people wrong. But anyway, these are not mine. I just borrowed them from somebody else, and they work great for just trying to do quick stuff. So just drag it on here. It creates an image, starless image for that. So I'm just getting it out of the way here. And then you put the stars on there. It creates one for that. And then you just drag the rescreen, and then voila. You know, it's like magic. These things just appear in there. So let's get all this stuff moved out of the way. And there we have, let's get this image blown up a little bit more so you can see it a little bit more. That image looks pretty amazing. You got the stars back in there, the HA stars. I know we have the halo to deal with, but just looking at that, that looks pretty amazing. So let's do a noise exterminator. We haven't done any noise on it, so we're just going to hit the default here. Let it do 2 iterations of this because I got it set up to do 2, and then we'll hit it with a blur exterminator one time to maybe give it a little bit of non-stellar sharpening, and then we'll just let it go from there. We'll let it go. But I'm already really digging the results and really happy with ToupTek's camera. It so far has done an outstanding job dealing with. I mean, look at that. That's 3 hours of data. You can't really beat that. That's I mean, the only way you can beat that is in a Bortle 1 sky, and this is with 85% to a full moon. This is amazing job from this camera right here. So let's run a blur exterminator on it, and let's go back to the defaults here. What I want to do is just step up to non-stellar. I'll never go above 64, 65. Let's just do that at 63 and see what we get. And then, I mean, this is a great picture. For a first light review during those during the full moon data time frame, excuse me, it's I'm just blown away. This camera is definitely going to be my top choice from here on out, and I can't wait until Galaxy season is finally over, even though I love Galaxy season. But I'm really waiting for Galaxy season to move out of the way so I can get some of these really awesome nebulas to come into my field of view and test this out. And now that Stella Vita is working, and I will say that I used the Stella Vita to get this image, all this data with this camera. So that means that I had a full successful image session with Stella Vita, and it worked flawlessly. The only thing that hasn't worked flawlessly is the Samsung tablet I'm trying to use to screen record it. I've had some issues with it, but I have another video of that coming soon. But I mean, look at this. This thing is amazing. Look at that. That's just a beautiful image, and we could tweak it more. Look at that nebulosity up there. Look at that. 3 hours of data. That's just amazing. It's I'm loving it. I'm digging it. You know, we could do another little curves adjustment here. We could boost it up just a little bit more. Nah, that's taken away. It's just taken away. It makes it more dynamic in the background. In this area here, it makes these pop out. Looks like a little ghost up there. I'm not digging that too much. So I kind of like this. I kind of like where it's at. So I think we're going to leave it as such. But just in general, I think it is an amazing job. Let's get this zoomed in here. Do a little bit of pixel peep in there. And that's without any other further enhancements. There's all kinds of enhancements we can do to this, but I think in general, this camera did an amazing job. Stella Vita has done an amazing job, and I cannot wait to further use this camera for more targets. All right, so with that, I just want to say in closing that the ToupTek SkyEye 62AM full frame camera, it is one powerhouse of a camera. And again, I just want to get you another look at that. It's a beautiful camera. It's like a well-oiled machine. It works great. I'm very impressed with it. It is budget friendly, and I want to give another shout out to ToupTek for sending this over to us for review. And I want to say thank you for listening to us for the review that we did on Stella Vita, and reaching out to us, and helping us out, giving us those updates, and showing us some other ideas on how we can get this to go better. And I also want to say thank you to Dan over at Astroworld Telescopes. Really appreciate all your help and wisdom and making all this happen, starting off with the Stella Vita. So thank you again, and I look forward to using this camera a little bit more, actually a lot more, when the weather clears up and when we finally get some nebulas in our field of view. Looking forward to using the planetary camera that ToupTek sent over as well. Try to get that used a little bit more on some solar objects. But again, we're still waiting on some sunny skies and some clear skies for everything. But again, I want to say thank you to everyone for hanging out with me during this review, and wishing everyone clear skies.